We want to not just pop up text sometimes. Sometimes we want to show stuff to the user. And so let's reimagine our app that when we hit the cheer button, instead of having a pop up, which honestly is annoying to users more than anything else, I want to display that text on the screen. Maybe I'll keep the pipe up, but I want to also display text on the screen. And then let's further imagine that we're not just showing on this screen. Let's say we had, it'll show up on your screen, but also show up on some message board, maybe at the sports arena or inside of the LED scrolling screen or something like that. So there's a few little tricks we have to understand around that. Um, let's first start by creating a label. So I don't know. A label. Um, and we need to pop this label somewhere out there. So we could just put it on the window. And let's play a little bit more with this in that we can change, for example, the foreground. So we can make the foreground color any color we want to. My favorite's purple. And let's change the background as well. And we'll make the background, well, we'll make it black to align with the dark of the picture that we have right there. All right. And furthermore, we can change the font. Now, changing the font is a little bit less trivial. First of all, we need a tuple for the font. So we're going to put a couple things together. And we have to know the name of the font to some degree. So we're going to use a standard, Times Roman. So you can look up the fonts, you can find them out there, and then we can give it a size. We'll make it pretty big, and then we can give it a style. So we'll make it bold. So Times Roman, size 20, and bold. Again, if you want to go Google or search in the code, you can actually find different fonts that are available. But most of the ones you see in your Microsoft Word or whatever will be out there. But whatever's loaded into your Python installation is what's going to show up there. So then let's put the encouragement display. I'm just going to copy this since I made it so long and pack that in. Let's see what that looks like real quick. Oh, well, that's terrible. I have a tiny little bar right there. Well, I didn't put any text inside of it. So, I mean, I want the text from the message to show up, but we can start with, well, here, let's start this comma. Text is equal to your message here. Just to see what the heck's going on here. Okay, well, that's better. But again, my vision was to fill this whole space. So, I mean, how do I get the vision? Well, there's a number of ways to do that, but let's show you a simple one. So on pack, I have some options where one of the options I can say is, for example, fill. And so I can fill left to right, I can fill top to bottom, or I can fill both. By the way, single quotes, double quotes, doesn't matter. It's Python allow you to do both of them. But now notice here, I can see the blacks all the way across the bottom, your message here. And I don't even need to put your message here. I can leave the message out entirely, and it works just fine. I just get this black bottom, a black bar across the bottom. So cool, right? So the goal here then is instead of when I hit the button, well, let's just say the cheer does a pop-up. It's just momentarily. The tribute I want to have stick around. So what I want to do is, well, I want the encouragement display. Well, how do I set the text, right? There's probably some method to do that, but what, how do I do that, right? What is the text to go off and do that? Well, it's actually not what you would expect it to be. It's not, unfortunately, and it's again, this is a choice of some developer somewhere. It's not. Oops, where did I put it? It's not as simple as like set text. That would be great, right? that would be awesome if I could just do that. So if I ran my code and I put some stuff in here and I sit there, there's no attribute called set text. So again, sometimes in code, they don't make things as intuitively as we want. There's actually a method here called configure. And when I do configure, it allows me to change any of the attributes. For example, the ones that I set up on the display. I could change the foreground, I can change the background, I can change the text. So if I do configure, I can change a bunch of things at once instead of having to say set text, set foreground, set background. So to some degree, it actually is very convenient because it allows me to set all the things I want to on that, not have to call 4 or 5 different methods. In other ways, it's confusing because I have to know how it was built. And it's really 6 of one, half dozen of another. It's not wrong, it's just their choice. So now if I put something in here, I say cheer, it shows up here, right? Nice and easy, not too bad. Um, but let's say this display on some LED screen doesn't accommodate everything. So I could put in all sorts of things inside of here, and it shows up fine. But let's just say it wouldn't do that on our scrolling LED. Our scrolling LED only allows A through Z, lowercase, uppercase, and capital letters. So there's a couple different ways I can handle that. One of them is I let the user click the button and I say, by the way, you're not allowed to use these certain characters. And that's the standard way to do that. Your password must contain these characters. You're not allowed to use those characters. But there's one other way that works in a GUI that isn't always super convenient. It's sometimes annoying to the user, but I can actually filter out what characters you're allowed to type as you type them. Using the character keyboard entry listeners, those event listeners. And now that we put all this together, I kind of hinted that we're going to do it right away. We're going to actually do that in the next video. I want you to get this set up. Make sure you have all of your display set up and it's put in the right place and it's showing everything. And when you do this, it sets it up, it sets it into here, so that way we can get it cleaned up and watch this work the next time. So we'll come back to that in a second, but make sure your display is up and ready to go.